Good morning. It is Tuesday, the 20th of January. I'm Maeve McMahon, and this is Europe Today, your daily dose of European news and analysis, live here on Euronews. Coming up today, all eyes on Davos, where EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen will be speaking on the main stage this morning. This as transatlantic tensions over a looming trade war boil over and European industry snarls back at the, quote, ludicrous demands to hand over Greenland. Meanwhile, President Trump, who was inaugurated this very day last year, has linked his threat to annex Greenland to his failure to win this year's Nobel Peace Prize. To make sense of all this, I'm joined here in the studio by Stefan Krobbe, Euronews' US politics expert. Good morning, Stefan.
Good morning, Maeve.
So look, all eyes on Davos today, of course. We're going to see Ursula von der Leyen taking the stage today and President Donald Trump taking the stage tomorrow. So lots of opportunities there for the Europeans and the Americans to meet and smooth things over Greenland and, of course, trade tensions. Will they, do you think?
Well, that's the $1 million question or $5 million question or whatever. The transatlantic relations have never been so bad. They deteriorated under Trump because Trump doesn't care about Europe. He despises Europe. I don't know for what reason, maybe it's family history or something. He hates Europe and he is ready to fight Europeans, his own or America's very own allies, fight the Europeans rather than America's adversaries around the world, like Russia, like China, or some rogue regimes in North Korea, etc.
And he's furious as well about the Nobel Peace Prize. We heard about these text messages between himself as well and the Norwegian Prime Minister.
Now, that's a particular obsession that makes everybody wonder what's really going on in the White House. He sent a letter to the Norwegian Prime Minister saying that because I didn't get the Nobel Prize, I'm now not dealing in peace anymore. I'm now concentrating on what's good for America. Like this would not be peace. The Norwegians, of course, said, "Well, you're talking to the wrong person here. We have nothing to do with the Nobel Committee. That's a different organization, different institutions. The Norwegian government has nothing to do with it." And I wonder, and this is over Greenland, which belongs to Denmark and not Norway. And I wonder, why is there nobody in the White House who would tell the president, "Look, you cannot go after the Norwegian government because, as I said, they have nothing to do with it."
And meanwhile, what's keeping Europeans up at night this week, of course, Stefan, is the looming trade war. There's an emergency ambassadors meeting later in the week. We're having the EU leaders gathering here this Thursday, and we can actually head over now to Davos, to the World Economic Forum, where Euronews' EU editor, Maria Tadeo, is standing by for us. Good morning, Maria. Lovely to see you with us. Now, as I'm saying here, the Europeans and the Americans will have the opportunity to meet in Davos. Will they be able to smooth over these tensions, in your opinion?
Well, Maeve, at this point, it really...
Well, we've got a beautiful shot there of our Euronews EU editor there in the snowy, stunning Davos. But unfortunately, we're having some technical difficulties there with that connection. So in your humble opinion, Stefan Krobbe, do the Europeans have a plan here if Donald Trump does indeed go ahead with these tariffs?
I think they have a plan. And I think they're, unlike prior occasions, they are now determined to hit back. Europe is not, some small entity. We have 400 million people. This is the biggest single market in the world. We're more important than the United States. And why should Europe not hit back the same way Donald Trump hits Europe? So the Europeans have always tried not to do, to bring out the big nuclear option or bazooka or something.
Yeah. And for now, that's on hold. I mean,
that's on hold. But the Europeans are getting closer to saying, okay, let's do it.
Yeah. And one lady who can actually speak to Donald Trump and perhaps have some leverage over him is the Giorgia Orlandi of Italy. And as you can imagine, EU-US relations could not be more strained. And she has proposed herself to be a mediator. Our correspondent in Rome, Giorgia Orlandi, has the view on that. Take a look.
It's not the first time that Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has played a bridge-building role between the European Union and Washington, given her political affinity with Donald Trump. Last April, she flew to Washington and met with US President to encourage dialogue between the two sides over tariffs. But this time around is different. She confirmed she directly told Trump that imposing tariffs over Greenland was, quote, a mistake. And it's the first and strongest criticism she has voiced so far. And I could also suggest, according to reports in the Italian media, that for the first time she fears the situation may take a dangerous turn.
George Orlandi reporting for us there. And of course, European industry is also worried about the dangerous turn these tariffs could have on people, companies and also the global economy. Our Jakob Yanis takes a look at what exactly is at stake for us.
From February, 8 European nations might face a 10% US tariff on all goods and services. The reason? They openly oppose Trump's annexation attempt of Greenland. But tariffs means less trade. Less trade means fewer jobs. And yes, that includes yours. Will you be affected? The home of Lego, Denmark, exports pharmaceuticals and wind turbines to the US. Norway is a top supplier of industrial metals used in American cars and salmon in your sushi. Sweden is not just meatballs, but a hub for vehicles and telecoms. And remember Nokia? In Finland, they don't just make phones anymore, but build 5G networks for your iPhone and export the paper for your Amazon packages. France is the global capital of luxury fashion and the aerospace parts that keep Airbus factories in Alabama running. Tariffs for Germany means higher prices for your car and in general, industrial manufacturing. The UK is a powerhouse in life sciences and Rolls-Royce jet engines on American planes. Finally, there is the Netherlands, with their critical link in the global semiconductor supply chain. But you see, this isn't just their problem. Our European single market is a chain. A Polish factory supplies parts to German cars. A Spanish firm powers French tech. European diplomats are trying now to talk Trump down. But if that fails, Brussels has the anti-coercion instrument that can freeze vital parts of the EU-US trade. It will hurt both sides. But as the Danish Prime Minister said, Europe will not be blackmailed. Finally, why not just sell the island? Last year, over 80% of Greenlanders refused to be treated like real estate. And if we sell our sovereignty today, what comes next?
And that is the very question that NATO allies are fearing. What comes next? Last night, NATO members from the Nordic countries and Greenland held emergency talks with Secretary-General Mark Rutte. Our correspondent Shona Murray was there and joins us now from the NATO headquarters just outside Brussels. Shona, tell us, what is the feeling there after the latest Trump threats?
Well, Maeve, as you can imagine, the gravity of the situation isn't lost on anyone. And the feeling amongst America's allies, and particularly the Nordic group, is they simply can't understand why the issue of Arctic security can't be undertaken within the existing framework of NATO. That's the whole point of NATO. So they really see this as sort of quite illogical. They can't understand it. The other thing is, if you look at the developments over the weekend in relation to tariffs, and also Trump tying the Nobel Peace Prize with his designs on Greenland, again, they say, well, this is a very difficult thing to engage with because it doesn't seem too logical. What I did hear, Maeve, though, is that from a couple of sources, they're telling me that there may be a potential off-ramp at Davos for the United States, that they had heard that maybe Donald Trump misinterpreted the reconnaissance deployment of troops to Greenland from the likes of Germany and other countries as maybe a bit of sabre rattling, and that perhaps Donald Trump could come down on the issue of tariffs. Now, that obviously doesn't mean that he's still not demanding that he take over Greenland. But what I would also say, Maeve, is emerging from that meeting between the Nordic countries, Sweden, Denmark, Norway and so on, they really are defending. They are foursquare behind Denmark and Greenland. They're saying that no matter what, they will defend those allies, and they will also defend the issue of territorial integrity. Take a listen to the Swedish Defence Minister Pål Jonson yesterday.
Well, two things. According to any disputes between allies, they should be resolved in peaceful matters. And I think that the Washington Treaty there is crystal clear on that one. If there will be some kind of sanctions or tariffs, the EU will, of course, have to respond as well in kind.
Pal Johnson there, Sweden's foreign minister, and before that, of course, our Shona Murray, live for us from NATO. And as you heard earlier, the World Economic Forum is getting underway in Davos. Global leaders from Canada's Mark Carney to Germany's Friedrich Merz are set to attend in person. The Danes, though, have cancelled as a snub to Donald Trump. The president of Azerbaijan is also on the guest list and actually sat down this morning with Euronews' Jane Witherspoon on the same week that Azerbaijan begins supplying natural gas to European countries from Germany to Austria.
As you join world leaders here in Davos, we are at this moment witnessing a fundamental reassessment of the existing international system. Now, you've warned about this shift before. How does your country engage with this changing world order? And what is your message to world leaders?
So today, as you mentioned, international relations are entering the new era where it is not the rule of law, but the rule of strength is ruling the situation. We can see it in different parts of the world. Therefore, it once again signals that every country should base their strategy and policy on their potential, establish good relations with as many countries as possible, first in your region and second on a global scale. And that's what Azerbaijan managed to achieve. With
Iran as your neighbour, I want to also mention, how is Azerbaijan engaging with the evolving crisis that we are seeing there? And what is your assessment of its impact of stability across Eurasia, also including the energy markets?
Every country, including Azerbaijan, should think about stability around its borders, beyond its borders. With respect to Azerbaijan, we do not have any potential risks inside the country. All the potential risks can come from outside. Therefore, for us, stability in our neighborhood is something which we always think about, and we've been concerned about some destabilization in Iran. And for us, stability, predictability, and peace in the region is the biggest asset. We suffered from occupation, from war, from losing thousands of victims. And today, stability and security for every country is the only way to succeed. With respect to energy market, as you see today, oil price is stable. It is at the appropriate level, at least for Azerbaijan. And it demonstrates that situation in Iran, situation in Venezuela, and in other parts of the world do not seriously influence the price of oil. And this is a good sign because producers and consumers, they need to know the predictability of the situation in order to plan their future. So I hope that situation in the Southern Caucasus and around it will not deteriorate. This is what we really wish to see. And I hope that every country will contribute to regional stability and security.
Where do you feel that the South Caucasus sit in terms of being an emerging force in the energy sector and moving in towards the EU as well?
And with respect to Europe and European Union, our energy cooperation is growing. We already supply natural gas to 16 countries, and 10 of them are members of European Union. So by this coverage, by geographical coverage of supply of pipeline gas, Azerbaijan is #1 in the world. And for them, it's a way to strengthen their energy security. For us, it's an opportunity to sell our resources on the premium market.
And for more on the World Economic Forum in Davos, tune in tonight here on Euronews at 8 o'clock for a very special show on the World Economic Forum. We'll also be running a live blog all day, bringing you all the excerpts from the speeches taking place in the main stage at Davos, including that of the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. But that brings this edition of Europe Today to an end. Keep an eye as well on our social media for more, and do download our app. And we'll be back tomorrow morning. We look forward to seeing you then. Thank you, and stay with us here on Euronews.